Okay, so today we're going to talk about introductory elements. And we've already talked about complex sentences and complex sentences that have a dependent clause at the beginning of the sentence. You use a comma and then you put in the independent clause. However, sentences that begin with the independent clause, and with the dependent clause, do not use commas. And this is to follow, in a sense, that rule about if there's an introductory element. So the main independent clause is our main clause, and this dependent clause is an introductory element. It's something that you put up before the main event. So it is related to the main clause, and it kind of introduces the main clause. So besides dependent clauses, you can, if you begin a sentence with a prepositional phrase, and it's a longer prepositional phrase, short ones, and if it's a short one and you don't need the comma because there's no opportunity for your readers to misunderstand what you're saying, you don't need a comma. But if it's a longer prepositional phrase, many times you would put a comma after it before you go to the rest of the sentence. If you are addressing someone, so I'm yelling from the living room, kids, set the table. So if you're ever addressing someone at the beginning of your sentence, that's an introductory element, and you would use a comma. Sometimes you might use a participial phrase. That is a word that starts with an ing verb. So here's an example. Driving to town, we ran out of gas. So this is my introductory element, and this is a participial phrase. A participial phrase is an ing verb, and it can have an object. So driving to town, who's driving to town? We are. So in essence, this participial phrase is describing we. Okay, so that's another example of an element, of an introductory element. I'm looking to see what else I have for sentence samples. If you start with an interjection, so if I say, oh boy, we have class today. If any of you remember the interjection song on Schoolhouse Rock, you use a comma when the feeling's not as strong, or an exclamation mark or exclamation point. So if I was so excited that we had class today, I might say, oh boy, and put in exclamation point and then a separate sentence. So introductory elements are a little bit easy to figure out and to find in a sentence because they come at the beginning of the sentence, and they always require a comma. All right.